Tonight you will die, not permanently, but for roughly 8 hours you will cease to exist as a person. Consciousness will disappear. Control over your body will disappear. The continuous thread of who you are will be cut. And you will not notice the moment it happens. You never do. Not one person on this planet remembers the moment of falling asleep. Nobody. Ever. You do this every single night of your entire life, and every time it happens invisibly, as if someone simply cuts that frame out of the film. Most people think, so what? You just get tired. The brain switches off. Nothing special. But the brain does not switch off, and what it does while you think you are simply sleeping is one of the darkest and strangest things in the science of the human mind. It concerns who you are, what you remember, what accumulates inside you every night you do not sleep enough, and why scientists who have studied this for decades say that sleep is not rest, it is something else entirely. Let's start with the last minutes before sleep. You are lying down, dark, quiet, body heavy, and at some point thoughts begin behaving strangely. You think about tomorrow's meeting, and suddenly you are in a school hallway from childhood. No transition, no logic, just there you are, then back here, then somewhere else entirely. This is not a dream. You are not asleep yet. This is called the hypnagogic state, the transition zone. And the brain inside it behaves as if someone is flipping channels. Fast, chaotic, no remote. It is exactly in this moment that many people experience something startling. A sudden jerk of the entire body. The sensation of falling. A muscle spasm that throws you back into reality with your heart pounding. This is called hypnagogic myoclonus. And here is what scientists think is happening. When the body begins relaxing before sleep, muscles lose tension very quickly. So quickly that the brain interprets this as losing balance during a fall, and sends an emergency signal, correct immediately. Your own brain does not understand that you are simply lying down to sleep. It thinks you are falling off a cliff. And that is only what happens before you go under. Now, why you do not remember the moment of falling asleep? And here is where the standard answer ends. Because the real one is completely different. Memory does not work like a video recording. A memory does not appear at the moment of experience. It forms afterward. When the brain takes short-term information and rewrites it into long-term storage. This process is called memory consolidation, and it depends entirely on one structure, the hippocampus. Here is what happens when you fall asleep. The hippocampus shuts down first, not the whole brain, specifically the hippocampus, specifically the part that is supposed to record what is happening. This means in the last seconds before sleep, you still have thoughts. You still have sensations. Things are still happening. But the camera is already off. The memory card already removed. You experience the moment of consciousness disappearing. There is simply nobody left to record it. Think about that for a second. Every single night you live through an experience that leaves no trace. A moment in which you exist, and which does not exist for you. But this only explains why there is no recording. It does not explain what gets recorded while you sleep. And that is where the truly dark part begins. Chicago. 2 scientists studying infant sleep. Eugene Asarinsky is sitting beside a crib and notices something strange. Under the closed eyelids of a sleeping child, the eyes are moving, fast, erratically, as if the child is watching something. He assumes it is equipment interference. checks again. No, it is real. He and Nathaniel Kleitman begin waking adult subjects specifically at this moment. 80% of them describe dreams, vivid, detailed, alive. When woken during other phases, people remember nothing. Dark emptiness. This discovery overturned neuroscience because the measurements showed something impossible. During this phase, which they named RM, rapid eye movement, the electrical activity of the brain is almost identical to wakefulness. You are asleep. Your brain is not. It is working as it does during the day, producing the same waves, activating the same networks, but at the same time the body is completely paralyzed. This is not a metaphor. During REM sleep, the brain blocks motor neurons. Muscles receive a chemical signal. Do not move. Brain active. Body offline. Completely. Why? Because without this block, you would physically do everything happening in the dream. You would run across the bed, swing your arms, scream. There is a disorder in which this block does not work. REM sleep behavior disorder. People with it physically live their dreams. They get up. They attack imaginary enemies. They break furniture. They injure themselves. They injure partners sleeping beside them. One patient described regularly waking on the floor covered in bruises, with no understanding of why. This means that right now, the only thing keeping you in your bed while you dream is a razor-thin chemical mechanism, every night, without exception. Now for what sleep does to your memory. And here is where science says something that is hard to fully absorb. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker at Berkeley spent decades studying the connection between sleep and memory. His central conclusion is simple and devastating at the same time. Sleep is not rest from life. Sleep is work on life. While you sleep, the hippocampus does something extraordinary. It replays the events of the day that just passed, literally runs through them, again and again, and transfers the most important fragments to the cortex for long-term storage. Studies on rats showed this with striking precision. Neurons in the brains of sleeping animals replayed activation sequences identical to those during wakefulness. At 20 times the speed, the brain fast-forwards through the lived day. But here is what matters. It does not save everything. It chooses. It decides what is important, what to keep, what to delete, what to make part of you, and what to discard. This means you wake up in the morning as a slightly different person, not because time has passed, but because your brain spent the night deciding who you would be, without your participation, without your knowledge, while you were gone. And now, the darkest part. In 2019, researchers published findings that changed how doctors think about sleep. They discovered that during sleep, the brain activates a system that almost nobody had studied before: the glymphatic system. This is a network of microscopic channels between brain cells. During sleep, cerebrospinal fluid is pumped through them, literally flushing the brain from the inside, washing out metabolic waste that accumulated during the day, including protein plaques, the very beta amyloid deposits whose accumulation is directly linked to Alzheimer's disease. The glymphatic system operates primarily during deep sleep, not during the day, not during light sleep, only during deep nighttime sleep. Every night, you do not sleep enough. The brain does not have time to fully clean itself. A microscopic amount of toxic waste remains. The next night does not finish again. Another remainder, day after day, year after year, decade after decade. Chronic sleep deprivation literally allows the brain to slowly poison itself. And this is not theory. It is visible on scans. People who regularly sleep fewer than 6 hours show elevated amyloid levels already in middle age. You think you just got a little less sleep than usual. Your brain thinks otherwise. So what is actually happening while you sleep? The hippocampus shuts down before you lose consciousness. So the moment of falling asleep is never recorded. You live it and lose it simultaneously. The brain enters a state of activity indistinguishable from wakefulness and simultaneously paralyzes your body so you do not destroy everything around you. The hippocampus replays the live day at rewind speed and decides who you will wake up as. The glymphatic system flushes the brain of toxins that would otherwise remain permanently. All of this happens every night, in the dark. While you are not there, you think you are simply sleeping. What is actually happening? While you are absent, something inside you is doing the most important work, clearing the waste, choosing the memories, deciding who you will be. And the strangest thing of all, you will never catch it doing this because it starts precisely when you are already gone.